Parliamentary urgency exists for moments of genuine, immediate crisis. Earthquakes, pandemics, rare emergencies where time is the single most critical factor in saving lives. To achieve that speed, the process requires a heavy trade-off. It bypasses public submissions, eliminates standard debate, and skips systematic human rights scrutiny. However, under the 54th Parliament, this crisis tool has been normalized. The coalition government now employs urgency as its standard method for billing legislation through the House. Transformation of this emergency power into a routine procedure allows the government to advance a broad political agenda while avoiding the traditional friction of public and parliamentary pushback. In its first 100 days, the government used urgency to drive 13 bills through the House, a record for any MMP government. By June 2026, the volume expanded until over half, 57% of all bills, had their normal democratic checks removed. Prime Minister Christopher Luxon defended the pace by labeling regulatory impact statements, the checks that determine if a law actually works, as a waste of time. This data maps a systematic architectural shift. The government has created a legislative environment where legal protections can be altered at a speed that consistently outruns public awareness. Executing this shift requires specific tactics, starting with the tribunal ambush. Under current law, the Waitangi Tribunal loses its jurisdiction the moment a bill is introduced to Parliament. When the tribunal scheduled an urgent hearing into the disestablishment of Te Aka Waiora, the Māori Health Authority, the government introduced the bill 1 day early. They used the schedule to kill the legal challenge before it could be heard. The entire process from introduction to law took exactly 6 working days. Public input and independent rights reviews were entirely removed from the timeline. This procedural speed targeted an authority designed to close a 7-year life expectancy gap for Māori, a stark health inequality addressed through sudden abolition. The ambush tactic ensured that political speed took priority over both the health data and the Crown's foundational treaty obligations. The second tactic is retrospective extinguishment. Urgency allows the government to pass laws that retroactively delete existing legal claims, leaving citizens with no way to seek justice in court. We saw this with the Equal Pay Amendment Act. Passed overnight, it retroactively extinguished 33 active pay equity claims moving through the system. This single midnight vote stripped 180,000 women of $12.8 billion in projected future wages. The government applied the same method to the climate. Mike Smith of Ngapuhi and Ngati Kahu spent 7 years litigating to hold corporate polluters accountable for environmental damage. In just 90 minutes, the coalition introduced and moved the Climate Change Tort Liability Amendment Bill to kill Smith's 7-year Supreme Court victory. Retrospective extinguishment effectively grants immunity to the state and its corporate partners by simply erasing the citizen's right to stand before a judge. The third tactic is the simultaneous bundle and implementation delay. By processing dozens of laws at once, the government exhausts public scrutiny and prevents the media from focusing on any single bill. During a single week in July 2026, MPs were forced to debate from breakfast to midnight, processing 23 separate bills and 36 legislative stages. Massive bundles like this often hide high-impact changes, such as the gutting of health and safety protections for over 600,000 workers. Then comes the delay. The government passes the law under urgency, but forces the implementation date out past the next election. This strategy of bundling and delaying neutralizes democratic accountability, ensuring voters don't feel the consequences of a law until after the ballots are cast. These methods target the Māori, the life force of the democratic system itself, systematically removing the protections designed to balance government power. The sacred Māori obligations of kaitiatanga and manawhitanga have been intentionally rendered legally unenforceable through these procedural shortcuts. The alarm has been raised by the Waitangi Tribunal, human rights experts, and 27,000 public submitters who were ultimately ignored. This manufactured urgency serves as a specific weapon designed to bypass the public will and reshape the law before a defense can be organized. The success of this legislative heist depends entirely on the public sleeping through the midnight votes in the beehive. Exercising true rangatiratanga requires recognizing this legislative machine for what it is and remaining vigilant against its use. November 7, 2026 stands as the final deadline to hold this architecture accountable and determine the future of New Zealand democracy.